Have you ever wondered if knitting is something you'd enjoy or even if you can do it? This video is your first step to discovering if knitting feels right for you. Hi, I'm Karina with Stitch and Yarn Circle, making learning to knit and crochet simple and fun. You'll learn what it's like to hold yarn and place stitches on a needle using free bamboo chopsticks. Look for the round, separate kind from Chinese restaurants. You'll need one ball of yarn. Check for the number 4 and 100% cotton on the sleeve. By the end, you'll be ready to start your first project. If you'd like more guidance on choosing yarn for future projects, there's a free yarn guide linked in the description. You'll learn 3 beginner-friendly ways to place stitches on your needle. Skip the complicated techniques that require knitting skills or multiple steps so you can start quickly and confidently. I'm really glad you decided to watch more of this video to find out whether knitting is for you. The first thing we're going to talk about is the right yarn for this project. In the next few videos, I'm going to show you how to make a dishcloth. The reason why we're choosing this type of yarn is because 100% cotton is the only yarn you want to use in the kitchen. The reason is because acrylic yarn is plastic, and if it burns or starts on fire, it gets really hot, it could stick to your skin and burn your skin. That is why we use cotton in the kitchen. So these are 3 examples of cotton yarn you can find in local stores and online. The first one is Loops and Threads. I found this at Michael's. The second one is Peaches and Cream. I found this at Walmart. And the third one is Crafter's Secret, and I found that at Hobby Lobby. I want you to notice that the Loops and Threads and Crafter's Secret are both off-white. When you're purchasing yarn, you want to make sure you get light colors because it's easier to see your work. I was not able to find off-white at the Walmart that I went to for Peaches and Cream, but the yellow is still okay. Be sure to get light colors. Trying to knit with black or navy blue is very difficult. I, as an advanced knitter, don't like to work with that yarn also. So make sure that your yarn is light in color when you purchase it. Now I want to discuss what's on the sleeve, and that's this piece of paper or strip of labeling that goes around the yarn. The first thing you're going to notice, of course, is the logo and some information about, depending on which sleeve you look at, on the Loops and Threads, it has a lot of information like how many yards, how many ounces, and then it also does metric. On the Peaches and Cream, that's all you see is the logo. And the same thing goes with the Hobby Lobby yarn. It says Crafter's Secret. So what I want to do is I want to talk about the weight of the yarn, all of the things that go in making the width of the strand, and I want to talk about the fiber content, whether it's acrylic, cotton, or wool. So you'll see a graphic on the screen, and it shows you the placement of the 2 pieces of information you're going to be looking for to make sure that you get the right yarn. You'll notice at the top it has medium and then 4. 4 is knitting worsted or worsted weight. Now on the second sleeve, which is Peaches and Cream, you'll notice at the top right it gives you the fiber content. And then at the bottom left, it gives you the weight, which is 4. You'll see on the fiber content, it has 100% cotton, and it also has the symbol of cotton, or the logo for cotton that people use on clothing and other things. And then on Crafter's Secret, you're going to see that it says 100% cotton, and then it says for medium. Now on the Crafter's Secret, I really had to enlarge it or blow it up because it's very tiny in the bottom left corner of this particular section of the information on the back of the sleeve. If you're interested in doing other projects in the future, I have a free yarn guide you can get by simply going to the description, clicking on the link, and putting in your email. I'll send you a yarn guide that talks about different weights of yarn and different fiber and what it's used for. Now, let's go to the next section when I'm going to talk to you about how to get free knitting needles by using chopsticks from Chinese restaurants. Now that you have the information on the type of yarn you're going to need to make your dishcloth, which is 100% cotton, medium weight, number 4, we're going to start talking about how to create your own needles using bamboo chopsticks. The reason why I select bamboo is because it will hold onto your stitches better than metal or even smooth wood needles. We want that because we want the stitches to stay on the needle and it will be easier for you to knit. Now the type of chopsticks we need is the kind that are separate and round as shown here on the video. We don't want the kind where they're stuck together at the end, and you can take the chopsticks that you get at the Chinese restaurant and feel all the way to the end, and you'll feel like there's a ridge here. We don't want the ones with the ridge. We want the ones that are separate, and you can move the chopsticks inside the package and feel that they're separate and there's nothing connecting in them at the end. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start with making an end on each needle, and they're called caps or knobs. It holds the stitches on the needle as you knit so they don't fall off the other end. And here's how you're going to do it. You're going to pick up a rubber band and get it as close to the end as you can and just wrap it. And wrap it over itself so that you have a thicker knob or cap at the end of your needle. So you just keep wrapping it around until it gets pretty tight. And then the last one's going to be a little bit difficult. You should be able to get that last piece on. So there you have the first step in creating your knitting needles with using chopsticks. The next step we're going to do is to create a more tapered end so you'll be able to get the stitches from one needle to the next. As you can see, these chopsticks are really blunt and they don't look like the picture that's labeled the tip of the knitting needle, showing the tapered ends on wooden and metal needles. Now you can knit with these. It just is a little more difficult. So what you need is a pencil sharpener and the 2 blunt ends. And all you do is, of course, stick the chopstick in the pencil sharpener. If it has 2 options, put it in the small one and turn it maybe about 6 times, and that works out perfectly. So you'll see the picture of the modified chopsticks and the sharpened tapered ends. Just go ahead and do that with both. Now if you go all the way and you make them really sharp, you can use an emery board or nail file to rub on the ends just a little bit so that they're less sharp, because you may be trying to push the yarn off the needle with your finger, and it's going to start hurting after a little while. So there you have it. You can see the modified chopsticks with the two ends. This one I didn't do, but the two ends that are tapered using the pencil sharpener, and the two caps or knobs at the end of the knitting needles that are now ready to use in the project we're going to learn next in this video how to cast on in 3 different ways. Now that you've purchased 100% cotton medium number 4 weight yarn and you have your chopsticks ready with the minimum of having rubber bands serving as a cap or a knot at the end of the needle, and if you choose to, you can use a pencil sharpener to taper the ends, but it's not required. The first thing we're going to do in this cast on is a slip knot. Now, how I do a slip knot, you see how I hold it with my 3 fingers, my middle index, my middle ring and pinky. I wrap the yarn from the front, behind, and then in front again, making an X. I pull it off and you can see the yarn behind it that crosses here. Stick your 2 fingers in there and grab it, and you've got your left hand holding the yarn that is the shorter end. So go ahead and tug on that. Let's do it one more time. Now where I choose to do this slip knot is about more than 10 centimeters and 4 inches. And the reason why I do that is when you actually make the project, which is going to be a dishcloth for your kitchen, you're going to need to weave in the ends. So you don't want to start too short. With a short end, then it makes it more difficult to weave in the ends. So here we go. We're starting at 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Again, you're going to hold the yarn with these 3 fingers, your middle ring and pinky. You're going to go in front of your index finger, come behind and cross over, making an X. Let go. Pull the yarn from the back of your index finger. Now look for that yarn behind. Stick your 2 fingers. If you need to make the loop a little bigger, great. Stick your 2 fingers back there, grab it, and pull. That is a slip knot. Now you can rewind this video to see it again. There are many ways to do a slip knot. So if you already know how to crochet or you already know how to do a slip knot, do that. Now we're going to pick up the chopstick and stick it through, and then we're going to pull on the yarn that's the working yarn that's attached to the ball of yarn. You don't want to do it too tight because it's going to be difficult to get your other chopstick through when you actually knit. So this counts as your first stitch. We're going to stick our thumb out. Make sure, again, holding the yarn the same way with your middle ring and pinky, you're going to go in front of your thumb, wrap around, stick the chopstick in that hole and pull. But don't pull too tight, again, because you're going to have a problem with getting the other needle in the yarn when you're actually knitting. So let's do that again. You're going to stick your thumb. You can stick your thumb under, or you can bring the yarn around. There's so many ways to do this, so whatever is comfortable. I'm going to stick my thumb underneath it. Then I'm going to find the yarn that's in front, stick it through this hole right here, and pull on it. Not just enough, not too tight. See how it moves really well? Do it again. You can wrap it if you choose. Keep your thumb where it is and wrap it. Then stick the needle underneath the yarn on the thumb. Take your thumb out and pull the yarn so that it ends up being even. You want to do your best to make the stitches even, but this is your first cast on, so don't worry about that right now. Let's just get the stitches on the chopstick. Keep going, wrap around, come in front, stick your chopstick through, and tug on it. Again, stick your thumb underneath, come around in front, put the chopstick inside, take your thumb out, and pull on it. Now this can be done using other needles. So I'm going to take this one off, and I'm going to show you how to do it on metal needles, straight metal needles. It's basically the same thing. I have 2 metal needles here. And the slip knot stays in place. We can do it again. Again, I'm grabbing the end of the yarn. I'm grabbing the end of the yarn with my middle ring and pinky. I'm going to wrap it around my finger, make an X, grab this one on the bottom right, pull it off, put my 2 fingers through the hole, grab the yarn that's in behind, and pull on it. So there's my slip knot. Now we pick up one of the needles and stick it through, and we keep our hand on the yarn that at the end and pull it not really tight, but tighten a little bit. And again, we're going to use the thumb to go under the yarn. We're going to stick the needle through the front and pull it so that it's complete. We do it again. Stick our thumb under the yarn, wrap the yarn around, get the yarn from the front with the needle, pull our thumb out, and tug on it. Don't tug on it too tight. You want to have it be loose so that you can get the other needle through when we start knitting. Stick your thumb underneath, go in front, put your needle in underneath the yarn in front, pull your thumb out, and pull on it. So you can see that you can do this method with any kind of knitting needle. I just showed you chopsticks and I showed you straight needles. Now let's do the second type of cast on. This was called single cast on. And the second one is also called single cast on. However, we're going to use our index finger instead. Let's do the chopsticks again, and I will do a slip knot. I grab the yarn. Okay, we're going to grab the yarn that has the end on it, and again, we're doing it at least 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Grabbing the yarn with our middle ring and pinky finger. We're going to wrap our index finger and make an X. We can take our thumb and hold that location, pull it off your finger, stick your finger and your thumb in the loop, grab onto the yarn from behind and pull it. And let's do this one on chopsticks first. So we're going to take a chopstick and we're going to put it through, pull it tight, pull it so that it's just snug. So you put your finger underneath, stick your needle through, and pull. Again, put your finger underneath, pull the needle in front, put your needle inside the hole, and pull it through. Put your finger underneath, stick the needle under the yarn in front and pull. Put your finger underneath, Pull the yarn around, stick your needle in the loop and pull it taut. So that's what it looks like on chopsticks. Okay, so these are wooden needles. You can see that it has a tapered end. And we're going to make a slip knot again. I pulled the slip knot out. Again, hold the yarn, the end of the yarn with your 3 fingers. Wrap it around, make an X. You can hold your thumb on the X where it crosses. Pull the yarn off. Stick your 2 fingers in. Pull that yarn from behind and then tighten this slip knot. Take one of the needles, stick it through the loop, and tighten it. Now I'm going to make sure I have the working yarn. Don't use this end because you'll end up with running out of yarn quickly. Again, use your 3 fingers to hold it. Go around from behind. Come in front. Stick the needle inside the loop and pull. That's where we end. We're going to stick our index finger behind the yarn, wrap it in front, go underneath the yarn in front, pull your index finger out and close it up. Again, you're going to stick your index finger underneath the yarn, bring it around, put the needle under the yarn in the front of the index finger, pull the index finger out and pull it. So this is what it looks like when you're going quickly. And you're going to count all the stitches, including the cast on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do 10. There. Another thing I want to tell you is that because of this tapered end, it will make your stitches different sizes, tighter, if you knit on this part. You want to make sure that your cast on is below the tapered end and fully on the full part of the needle, not on the tapered end. So those were called single cast on. Now we're going to do a different kind of cast on. I don't know what it's called because I only saw one video using this type of cast on. The reason why I chose it is because it's a different way than the single cast on, and it does not require any knitting skills to get the stitches on the needle. So let's get started. Again, we're going to start at about 4 inches or 10 centimeters from the end. Grab the yarn with your middle ring and pinky. Wrap your index finger, cross it over. Hold your thumb on the X. Pull the yarn off. Stick your index finger and thumb, grab the yarn and pull it through. Now let's put it on the needle and make sure that you're using the yarn from the ball. Do not use this yarn. Check to make sure you have the right end of the yarn to start with. So what we're going to do is we're going to again hold the yarn like we did with the slip knot, and we're going to go around the same way, only this time we're going to go all the way in front. We're not crossing over. Hold the yarn with your left thumb. Make sure it's taut because if it's too long, it gets a little bit hard to deal with. Put the needle underneath the first wrap and enter it from the middle knuckle towards your fingernail. Pull your index finger out, and there you have your first stitch. It looks very much like the single cast on. So let's do it again. Grab the yarn with your middle ring and pinky, wrap it around like you're going to do a slip knot, pull it not cross but next to, hold the yarn with your thumb, put the needle underneath the yarn, that's the first wrap that you did, from coming in from your middle knuckle towards your nail, pull your index finger out, and there you have your second stitch. Let's do it again. Wrap, hold, put it underneath from the middle knuckle to your fingernail, pull your index finger out, and tug on it. Do it again. Wrap your finger underneath, hold it with your thumb, put the needle underneath that first wrap from the middle knuckle to your fingernail, and tug on it. Now let's make sure that they're all facing the same direction. You can see here that there's loops that go horizontal across the bottom. Let's keep going. Wrap the yarn around, hold it with your thumb. Don't get too far out, because then it gets a little bit messy to try and figure out what you're doing. So keep it about, that looks like about 2 inches, which would be 5 centimeters. And then wrap it around. Make sure that you wrap it around almost twice or all the way twice. Put your thumb to anchor it. Put the needle underneath the first wrap that you made from the middle knuckle to your nail. Pull your index finger out and tug on it. There you go. Oh, you see right here, this is a good demonstration. This yarn is made with 4 very thin strands of yarn. It's called 4-ply, and sometimes you'll catch it so that you end up with one of the plies. Do not use that as your stitch. It's going to get stuck and it'll break. So let's start that one over again. Wrap the yarn around twice or almost twice. Hold the wrapped yarn with your thumb. Put the needle underneath the first wrap in the direction towards your fingernail. Take your index finger out and tug on it. Let's keep going, because I want to give you a demonstration of what you don't want to have once you get this done. So here we go. See how if it's too long it kind of gets messy? You want to keep it close. Okay, I think I have enough to give you the directions now. As you can see, I was telling you to look for these horizontal loops. Make sure that they're all lined up. You do not want it to look like this diagonally across. It could end up making it more difficult to start your knitted row. Okay, these are called circular needles. These are fixed, they don't come off. There are some that you can twist off and change the tips, and then you have the cable between the 2 needles. Now, I like these the best for a couple reasons. Once you start your project, you're not going to be looking for that second needle. And then also it's easy to stop in the middle. But I really like circular needles the best. So let me demonstrate how to do that wrap cast on. So let's start with a slip knot again. Again, we're holding the yarn with our middle ring and pinky finger. And then we're going behind, across the top. Hold the X with your thumb. I don't need this on my hand. Hold the X with your thumb. Pull the yarn off your index finger. stick your index finger and your thumb, grab that yarn behind and pull on it. Now let's pick up your needle, and you can do this along with whatever needle you have, and let's pull it so that it closes up, but we don't want it to be too tight. And again, we don't want to use this end because we'll end up with not being able to knit. So make sure you've got the yarn that comes from the ball of yarn. We're going to wrap twice, put your thumb on the end, go under from the middle knuckle to your nail, and let go. Now here, what happened was we ended up with a bit of a twist. So we need to adjust that so it comes down and aligns with the slip knot. If it was further down, we'd be aligning with those horizontal loops. Let's try it again. Wrap around, grab the yarn with your left thumb, put the needle underneath from the middle knuckle to your nail, and tug on it. See how that aligns nicely? And you can see that there are horizontal loops on the bottom. Wrap it around, use your thumb to hold it, put the needle under the yarn, the first wrapped yarn. Pull your index finger out, there you go. Wrap around, underneath, keep going. Eventually you get a rhythm and you get muscle memory so that it just happens to go much more quickly. So you can see how this goes. Okay, so now I want to recap what we did in terms of the cast on. We started off with using the chopsticks. We did a single cast on where we wrapped our thumb underneath the yarn, put our needle in and tightened it. And you just keep going. Pull your thumb out, put your thumb under, put the needle in front and pull it off. So that was the first one, and as you can see, there's horizontal loops. Now these are all going to end up looking the same. And the second one we did was our index finger. Stick your index finger underneath, go underneath the yarn in front, pull your index finger out, and continue on. That was the second way I showed you how to do it. And then this is the third way, where you wrap your index finger, go under from your middle knuckle to your nail, pull your index finger out, and that's what you have. So you have 3 to choose from. All of them don't require any knitting skills. Now, this is the first of a series of videos. This video is showing you about yarn, how to make your chopsticks into needles, and how to cast on, get the stitches on the needle. The next video, I'm going to show you how to knit. The third video, I'm going to show you how to purl, which is P-U-R-L. The fourth video, I'm going to show you how to get the stitches off the needle. Great! You've made it this far. You've already done something many people never try. You started. Getting stitches onto the needle is the first step in knitting, and now you're ready for what comes next. In the next videos, I'll show you how to knit and purl so you can turn these stitches into a simple dishcloth. Follow this channel so you can keep going with your quest to learn to knit. Be sure to click on the link in the description for a free guide to choosing yarn for future projects.